start off, these brakes are electronic, so I already hooked up the scanner and I already basically retracted the piston all the way through. So you do have to do that step. So we're just going to go ahead and start replacing the brake pads and rotors. So what I like to do, I like to disconnect it from up top. And now we're going to take off these two bolts, which are size 14. And sometimes, you know, the bolt inside here starts spinning with it, so you might want to hold it with a wrench or a plier, just basically so it doesn't spin, so you can take this bolt off. But for right now, I'm just going to break loose the other one. And now I'm just going to grab some pliers and then hold that so I can take this bolt off. I just loosen it to the point where I know I can get it off by hand, and then I start removing the other bolt. I'm doing it by hand, but you can for sure get an electric impact, but I just don't have the size for it because it is tight, kind of a tight spot. After that, just remove them. Like I said, I should be able to take them off by hand at some point. I'm just gonna wiggle it off. And it's gonna be like a little tight fit here. So I'm just gonna have to turn it. And what I like to do, I like to put it on top. I like to rest it because you don't want this to hang in there. So either you can hang it on with the spring on here or just put it on top. That way it's not in your way. So now what we're going to do is remove these bolts right here, which are size 19. So I just broke it loose. And we just lost our light. So, just take them off, they're a little tight. Again, you can use an electric impact, you know, it goes by quicker. Take it off, cycle and cleans. Now we're going to take off the rotor. Notice that they are kind of stuck on there, so you could either hit it with a hammer or you can basically put a bolt on these holes right here that are threaded, and that'll basically, as soon as you put the bolt in, it's just going to stick in there and the rotor will pop right out. The way I'm going to do it, I'm just going to hit the rotor since we are going to replace the rotor, so it doesn't matter, and I'm just going to put a lug nut on there so it just doesn't, the rotor doesn't just fall off. So it doesn't matter where you hit it, but I like hitting it from the bottom. Just kind of turn it a little by little. It should come out. So now we're just going to clean this a little bit so that way we can put the new rotor on after. So I'm just cleaning the surface as much as possible. Get that rust off. I will be getting this with some Scotch-Brite. So I'm using Scotch-Brite because that's what I have on hand. You can use some sandpaper or whatever it takes to basically remove this rust. And what you can do after is you can use some anti-seize on there. I don't have anything on hand, but you can use some anti-seize so that way the next person or you yourself are doing it. That way, hopefully that rotor doesn't stick to it the next service. So. That should be good. So now we have the new rotor here. What I like to do, I always want to make sure that it's the same size rotor, same everything. You don't want to install the incorrect rotor. So it looks like it's the same rotor. Looks like it's the same thickness, same everything, just to be sure. Install the rotor. Make sure it's flush. And then what I like to do, I like to put a lug nut on there so I can just basically, that rotor can sit nice and flush. So now we're just gonna clean the caliper bracket. I'm replacing the brake pads. So on the new brake pads, they do come with the new shim kit. So I'm just gonna remove these and basically clean everything underneath. And I'm gonna be installing new shim kits. So I'm just brushing everything off since I'm going to be installing the new shims as fast as possible. So I already installed the new shim kit. And just a reminder, the way you take it out is the way you're going to put them back in, okay? So just remember, it goes in the same spot. The little ears out. So that way when the pads hit, it basically retracts on there.
I'm going to put a wrench right here.
So we're now basically lubricating the sliding pins. So what I did, I cleaned everything as best as possible in there. You do want to clean everything in there because if not, these sliding pins like to dry up and they stick, and that's how you get abnormal brake wear. So on one side you're basically going to have no pad compared to the other side, and that's basically because of these pins don't slide the way they should. So basically you want to make sure these pads go in nice and easy. Just that. Going back in, you always want to put these in by hand. Start them off by hand, but either way, I like to go fully in by hand. Again, you can use an electric impact, go in. And then we're going to secure them, and again, remember it's a size 19. these, you just basically go in when they're nice and snug. Do the same thing for the bottom one. Make sure it's nice and snug. And note, yeah, I haven't put any lubricant. What I like to do, I like to put the lubricant on the actual brake pad, on the ear of the brake pad. So,
Okay.
so now we're gonna retract the piston. If you already did it with the scanner, then this should go in nice and smooth. Pushing back in. Gotta make sure it's nice and flush. So it should be nice and flush. So now what I like to do, I'm just going to clean this a little bit. I just like cleaning it just because, especially if we're going to put lubricant on the actual ears of the pads, you don't want this dirt going on that lubricant, and then it's going to cause some noise. Now we're going to be installing the brake pads. I did put a little lubricant, not too much. Put the spring on there. It's kind of going sideways a little in there. Kind of push in there. Pop them in. We're going to be doing the same thing on the other side. It's a little tricky on this side because you can't really see, but basically you want to go in sideways. A little tricky for me. Just pop them in, make sure. Now we're just gonna pop the caliper over. If it doesn't go in all the way, it means the piston is not fully retracted. So make sure. Align the bolts. Again, start off going by hand. Going by hand. I like to go in all the way until it stops by hand. You can use your other hand to turn this nut here so it can go in faster. Make sure these are size 14, and again we're going to go in there holding it with your pliers. It's going to go in until it's nice and snug. You basically already bottomed out. You don't want to go full on because you can break this, so just make sure it's just snug. We're going to secure the top one same way. Again, not too much because again you can break, so just got to be careful. That, and again, don't forget to connect the connector here. Plug it back in. So you do a brake job.